Special thanks to the Queen Diclonus for another commission for this review. Today, we'll be doing Who Framed Roger Rabbit, as per his request. Side note, he wanted me to do movies he would have watched when he was younger. Flight of the Navigator and the Short Circuit duology was on that list, and so is this movie. Once upon a time, Disney actually made quality movies rather than just corporatized crap. But we're here to talk about the old, not the shitty new. So the movie was based on a novel written by one Gary K. Wolfe called Who Censored Roger Rabbit. Despite the film having next to nothing in common with the novel, Wolfe loved the movie, and even wrote another novel to better tie in with the movie. Damn. Most authors would dislike film adaptations that miss the point of the source material that they wrote. Just look at Roald Dahl with Willy Wonka, or Stephen King with The Shining. I mean, based on what I've heard, the movies did either deviate or butcher the source material, so I can't tell them they're wrong for hating such adaptations. But since we're talking about Who Framed Roger Rabbit, this movie was directed by Robert Zemeckis, who we all know is the director of Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, and The Polar Express. I didn't actually know he was the one who made this movie, until the credits rolled. So imagine my surprise. But then I thought, oh, it makes sense now. Roger Rabbit is a live-action animated hybrid film, sort of like Space Jam. I have no idea if this kind of film was attempted with great ambition before, but this seems like a really hard film to make. Blending live action with animation seems to be a challenge, especially if you want efficient pacing and whatnot. Another thing I notice is that this film derives from so many intellectual properties, with cameos out the arse. This movie was distributed by Disney, but the film also includes characters from the Looney Tunes, and a bunch of other old cartoons. The film works with the premise that the live-action humans and animated cartoon characters coexist with each other. The film takes place in this hybrid universe in 1947 Los Angeles. We even start with a cartoon, in which the titular Roger Rabbit and some baby character are filming a slapstick short with each other. It seems like it'll be a completely different movie. In fact, when I first saw this film, I assumed it was a short to start up the movie. Sort of like how the start of Indiana Jones had a mostly irrelevant start that was supposed to establish what kind of movie it would be. Of course, it's revealed to all be done in a studio, and it's here where we are introduced to the main character, Eddie Valiant. He's basically the detective in this movie. He's shown to be a heavy drinker, and has a dislike for toons, because one of them killed his brother. But the killer was never identified beyond the fact that it was a toon. The blending of animation and live action right off the bat is extremely impressive. Since this was before the digital era of filmmaking, they couldn't motion track stuff. They shot the live action stuff first, using mechanical machines to fill in for animated characters interacting with the environment. And then the animator came in and put maximum effort and tricks to get the characters in sync with each other. The further back you go, the more limitations you get in filmmaking, and even if this was made in the later 1980s, after decades of cinema, it's still damn impressive. I watched a video that briefly went over how they animated this film, and this film surpassed all others in the technical department. I think the film still could have pretty much held its own, even without the extra effort due to the writing, jokes and whatnot. I've never really been a fan of slapstick cartoons though. I pretty much only watched Tom and Jerry because it was on television, and not for much else. Despite that, I was a fan of this movie. I admit it took some time to get started, and the movie personally started to pick up around 20 minutes in, I'd say. Before that, we've got Eddie being contracted by one of the studios Roger Rabbit works at to investigate his wife, Jessica Rabbit. The character in question is an overly sexualized cartoon woman, whom every male character takes a liking to. Point is, Eddie spies on Jessica, who it turns out is having an affair with a dude named Marvin Acme, who is explained as being the owner of Acme Corporation in Toontown. In this movie, Toontown is the completely animated side of Los Angeles in this universe, where all the cartoon characters live essentially. Eddie takes the pictures, and it leaves Roger distraught as his wife was cheating on him. Then, as I suspected, Marvin is murdered the next day, and the prime suspect is Roger Rabbit. This is where I'd say the movie picks up, as Eddie meets the sinister Judge Doom, played by Christopher Lloyd. Contrary to his character in Back to the Future, Judge Doom is a pretty imposing character. He's almost like the Men in Black. Not the Will Smith movie, but the actual Men in Black, in which people report these guys confronting them after they see a UFO or alien. That's the vibe he gives off. It's also a neat detail that he never blinks, in which Christopher Lloyd guessed immediately what the big twist was that happens later in the movie. On top of having a bunch of cartoon henchmen, Judge Doom also invented a way of executing cartoon characters with a substance called the dip, in which Judge Doom demonstrates the substance on a cartoon shoe. And Jesus, if there was ever something in this movie that was hard to watch, it's this. Well done, animators. So Eddie's on a case to find Roger Rabbit. His investigation takes him to talk to that baby from the start of the movie, who actually has a grown-up's voice, who tells him that Roger is innocent and that Acme had a missing will, in which he planned to give his company to the Toons after he passed away. And that will be the key to solve the mystery. Roger Rabbit also shows up in Eddie's office, insisting his innocence. A small gripe I had is that Roger Rabbit's speech is sort of slurred, so it was hard to tell what he was saying sometimes. Eddie of course agrees to help Roger clear his name, but not before some cartoon antics, which again was well done by the animators. When confronted by Judge Doom's henchmen, Eddie has to submerge Roger in water and let him out briefly to let him breathe, which again, it's pretty seamless and believable that they're both interacting with each other. Eddie gets Roger to hide in his girlfriend's bar, but Roger is not discreet in the slightest. And Eddie, when he comes back, scolds Roger for his antics, and Judge Doom shows up with his goons, tracking Roger here. And he's about to kill him, if not for Eddie's intervention. And they drive off in an animated car. I observed that unlike Pixar's Cars, the car here is extremely fluid with how it moves. To sum up the movie, it lives up to the name. Eddie works with Roger, albeit reluctantly, to solve the case, and the leads take him to a dude named Maroon, who apparently forced Jessica Rabbit to have an affair with Acme. But upon confronting him, a mysterious gunman shoots him dead, and the search to find the killer comes to find that Judge Doom was the killer. I doubt anyone was surprised given his persona, but that's not the twist. Nah, the twist is that Judge Doom is much like this movie, a toon wearing a mask. He's got animated eyes under those glasses while wearing the mask, and from what I could hear, the moment this happened, it traumatized many children who saw it back in the day. He was also the one who killed Eddie's brother. The climax is pretty great, as Eddie thwarts Judge Doom and gets him to sink in the substance he created himself to kill cartoon characters. Now, there's obviously more to the story than that, but the movie has a lot of cartoon set pieces. The sequence where Eddie navigates through Toontown was exactly like watching a classic cartoon. Them combining two film mediums worked to great effect. Eddie and the other live-action human characters feel like they were really doing slapstick, or interacting with slapstick more like. Eddie himself was played by the late Bob Hoskins, and the only other thing I saw him in was the 90s Super Mario Bros. Movie. Bob Hoskins plays a gruff and bitter detective, and really sells the role. He's not even American, and he puts on a great accent. His character also has a pretty solid arc. As I've mentioned, he's bitter towards toons, but he changes throughout the course of the movie, and upon meeting the one who killed his brother, he finally found closure. The movie might not be to my taste, but that doesn't mean I didn't like it. There is a lot of symbolism to observe too. When Judge Doom kills the cartoon shoe, for example, it's symbolic foreshadowing of how Judge Doom killed Eddie's brother, because shoes comes in pairs, if you catch my drift. When it comes to this movie, in my opinion, it's more for fans of classic cartoons than anyone else. I'd have to give this film a 9 out of 10. Ambitious for its technical capabilities, but still impressive for its writing, characters, and acting. I'm JJ Plagiarisms, and until next time, what are stories about mystery boxes? Under the mountain.